Deng Lijun, the voice that united a divided Asia. 2025 marks 30 years since Asia lost its greatest voice, but her legacy has never felt louder. What if one woman's voice could transcend politics, languages, and borders? What if a love song could be more powerful than a political speech? This is the story of Deng Lijun, Teresa Teng, a voice that comforted millions, defied regimes, and still echoes 3 decades after her final breath. Before global pop stars dominated charts, before Asia had its first K-pop wave, there was one voice that ruled the entire continent. She didn't just top music charts, she broke political barriers, conquered languages, and became the soundtrack of millions of lives. Deng Lijun, Teresa Teng, the woman whose voice was more powerful than propaganda. Chapter 1. The Girl with the Golden Voice. Teresa Teng was born on January 29, 1953 in Yunlin County, Taiwan. Her parents were refugees from mainland China, having fled the Communist Revolution. Her father, a soldier, was strict and traditional. Her mother, gentle and nurturing. In this unlikely mix of discipline and affection, a star was born. Even as a young child, Teresa had an uncanny sense of melody. She could memorize folk songs after hearing them once. Her voice, clear, soft, and pure, stood out immediately. By age 6, she was performing on radio. At 10, she sang in local operas. At 11, she won a national singing competition, beating singers twice her age. And at just 14, she released her first album, Fengyang Flower Drum. But Teresa wasn't just a prodigy. She was an old soul in a young body. Her voice carried emotions that felt too deep for someone her age. She had the rare gift of making listeners cry without knowing why. She dropped out of school to pursue music full-time, a risky decision in conservative 1960s Taiwan. But success came fast. She signed her first record deal as a teenager. Soon, her songs were being played across the Mandarin-speaking world. Radio stations called her Asia's sweetheart. Fans called her voice the sound of home. And this was just the beginning. Chapter 2. Stardom Without Borders. By the 1970s, Teresa Teng wasn't just a teenage sensation. She was becoming a pan-Asian phenomenon. She didn't look like a pop rebel. She wore elegant qipaos and soft smiles. But her voice? It was revolutionary. Teresa sang in Mandarin, Cantonese, Taiwanese Hokkien, Japanese, Indonesian, Thai, and English, not phonetically, but with fluency and feeling. She didn't just translate lyrics, she inhabited them. In Japan, she broke into the fiercely competitive enka market, becoming the first foreigner to win prestigious music awards and topping the Oricon charts. In Southeast Asia, her records flew off the shelves in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Her concerts sold out in minutes. She became a frequent face on variety shows and commercials. Fans didn't just admire her, they adored her. Her soft romantic ballads, often about longing, homesickness, and love, touched the heart of Asia's working class, especially migrant workers, students abroad, and lovers separated by politics or poverty. At her peak, she was selling out stadiums and recording numerous albums a year. Her fame rivaled that of Elvis Presley or the Beatles, but in 8 languages and across an entire continent. Yet even as her music soared, one massive market remained off-limits: mainland China. Chapter 3. The Forbidden Diva. In the 1970s and early 80s, mainland China was still under tight communist control. Western culture was viewed as corrupt. Romantic music was labeled decadent, and Teresa Teng's music officially banned. But it didn't matter. Through black markets and secret cassette trades, her songs infiltrated the Iron Curtain. On quiet nights, you could hear Tian Mi Mi, or 月亮代表我的心, the moon represents my heart, drifting from radios in hidden corners of Chinese cities. To millions, she was the voice they weren't allowed to hear, but couldn't live without. She became an underground legend in China. Her image never appeared on TV, but her name was known by everyone. Her voice, soft and warm, offered an emotional escape from propaganda and poverty. She sang of things the state could not: tenderness, personal longing, human love. A popular saying spread quietly in the mainland. By day, Deng Xiaoping rules China. By night, Little Deng rules. That Little Deng was Deng Lijun, Teresa Teng. She didn't set out to challenge authority. She didn't shout slogans or lead protests, but her very existence, a feminine, free, emotional voice, became an act of quiet rebellion. Chapter 4. The Songs That Linger. Some voices echo. Teresa Teng's voice lingered, in the air, in the soul, in memory. Her most famous songs didn't rely on high notes or complex arrangements. Instead, they captured raw emotion with elegance and restraint. The moon represents my heart, a simple melody, yet devastating in its sincerity. Tian Mi Mi, the sweetness of a first love wrapped in nostalgia. I only care about you. A vow of loyalty so gentle, it broke hearts. She didn't just sing these songs, she made them personal to every listener. Her delivery turned ballads into shared memories, the kind you couldn't explain, only feel. She often performed with minimal movement, standing still under soft lighting, letting her voice carry the emotional weight. And it worked. Audiences from Jakarta to Yokohama fell silent, transfixed. Her catalogue spans folk, pop, classical adaptations, patriotic songs, and ancient poetry set to modern melodies. Albums like Dan Dan Yu Qing, Faint Sentiments, stand as masterpieces, blending tradition and innovation. Critics admired her technical control, perfect breath, soft vibrato, clean phrasing. But it was her emotional transparency that made her unforgettable. To this day, her songs are used in music schools to teach expression through restraint. Her voice became a rite of passage, a way to grieve, to remember, to feel something deeply, even for those who didn't understand the words. Chapter 5. Behind the Spotlight. The world knew her as the radiant star with the angelic voice. But fame, for Teresa Teng, was never effortless. Her private life remained guarded. Rumored romances with a Malaysian prince and a French diplomat never became public stories. Her fame came at a cost: anxiety, exhaustion, and solitude. She often traveled alone, singing to millions but returning to empty rooms. Despite her public image of serenity, Teresa battled chronic asthma and stress behind the scenes. She often wore a medical mask during flights and demanded purified air in hotel rooms. Her discipline was unmatched. She practiced daily, even during illness, ensuring her voice never faltered. She was also a perfectionist in the studio. Recording sessions could last hours as she fine-tuned pronunciation and emotional tone, even in languages that weren't her own. Producers respected her precision and called her a one-take legend. Beyond her music, she shaped a visual identity for Asian pop. Silk chipaos, graceful posture, and timeless style. Teresa became the blueprint for elegance. Today's Asian divas still reflect her influence, from wardrobe choices to stage demeanor. Her soft-spoken demeanor was not shyness, but confidence. She once said, "A song should be felt more than heard. I don't need to shout to be remembered." Her presence off stage was just as dignified. She donated quietly to charities, visited schools, and avoided scandal. Fame didn't corrupt her. It refined her. She was not just a voice. She was a vision of what an artist could be. Sincere, humble, and unforgettable. Chapter 6. Politics, Pressure, and Exile. For Teresa Teng, politics was never part of the plan, but it was impossible to escape. Her voice crossed borders with ease, but her passport became a barrier. In the early 1980s, Teresa quietly obtained an Indonesian passport to bypass visa complications that limited her ability to tour. But the move backfired. The Taiwanese government, wary of dual allegiance, briefly blacklisted her from state media. It was a painful betrayal. The very nation that had once hailed her as a symbol of Chinese identity now questioned her loyalty. Meanwhile, mainland China, where she was banned, treated her as a threat. Yet her songs continued to spread underground, amplified by emotion and silence. Teresa never spoke out politically, but her voice reached further than any statement could. As the Cold War thawed, Teresa's image evolved from forbidden to legendary. She never performed in mainland China, but her presence was everywhere, on pirated tapes, whispered lyrics, and hearts that held her dear. Her major performances became cultural landmarks. 1974, breakout television appearance on Japan's NHK 1977, wins Japan's Best Singing Award, first foreigner to do so. 1983 releases Dan Dan Yu Qing, merging classical Chinese poetry with soft pop. 1985 headlines: Malaysia's National Stadium, a record-breaking concert. 1990 final major show in Los Angeles, where she closed with I Only Care About You, leaving fans in tears. Despite geopolitical tension, her music crossed oceans and ideologies. She wasn't just a singer, she was the cultural thread tying together Chinese communities across Taiwan, Hong Kong, Southeast Asia, and the diaspora. She walked a tightrope with grace, never aligning politically, yet being embraced emotionally by everyone. Chapter 7. Legacy in Modern Asia. When Teresa Teng passed away on May 8, 1995, from a sudden asthma attack in Chiang Mai, Thailand, it felt as if Asia had lost its heartbeat. She was only 42 years old, but she had already changed the cultural landscape forever. Her death wasn't just a shock, it was a wound that echoed across generations. Within hours, the news spread like wildfire. In Taiwan, major news anchors broke into tears live on air. In Hong Kong, candlelight vigils lit up Victoria Park. In Malaysia, fans queued for hours outside temples, praying for the woman they had never met, but deeply loved. Even in mainland China, where her music was once banned, people quietly played her songs out of apartment windows, filling alleyways with sorrow and gratitude. Her funeral in Taiwan became a national moment of reckoning. Over 30,000 mourners filled the streets. Schoolchildren sang her songs. Veterans saluted. Celebrities, rivals, and politicians stood side by side in silence. A military honor guard carried her coffin, wrapped in white lilies, to the sound of a band playing her most cherished ballads. It wasn't just a farewell, it was a collective thank you. In the decades since, Teresa Teng has become more than a singer. She is a symbol of unity, tenderness, and cultural memory. Her music is archived in school curricula across Asia. Her lyrics are referenced in Chinese literature and university exams. Conservatories in Taipei, Beijing, and Tokyo use her recordings to teach vocal control and emotional phrasing. In 2007, CCTV ranked her among the top 10 cultural icons since 1949. You can find her in museums, on postage stamps, and etched in stone statues across Taiwan, Malaysia, and Japan. Her legacy has even been revived through technology. Holograms of Teresa Teng perform sold-out shows, and AI-generated renditions of her voice have brought her songs into virtual worlds. Every May 8th, candlelight concerts, karaoke nights, and YouTube tributes bloom across the globe. Fans, old and new, gather not to mourn, but to sing with her again. Her voice has never faded. It has outlived borders, and now it outlives time. Chapter 8. Immortality Through Sound. She didn't need pyrotechnics. She didn't need scandal. Teresa Teng conquered Asia with nothing but a microphone and a heart full of love. She made the world stop and listen. And somehow she's still singing. Linger, the eternal voice of Asia. Her voice carried more than melody. It carried memory. It crossed oceans, survived regimes, and lived in hearts that had never seen her in person. In every note, there was a tenderness that made the world feel less lonely. As you reflect on Teresa Teng's story, remember this. She didn't fight for a cause. She didn't demand a spotlight. She simply sang, and in doing so, gave an entire generation a voice of their own. If her story moved you, please like this video, subscribe for more timeless legends, and share it with someone who needs to hear her voice. Let her song play one more time for you. Thank you for watching.